Hey guys, how's it going? It is Radlin Mendoza and my law partner and husband, John
Good
Gardner.
evening, everyone. How's everyone doing out
Gardner
there?
Mendoza Immigration Law Firm here in Virginia Beach. Hope everyone is having a splendid evening. And we're here. It's Thursday. Did you turn your ringer off?
I did turn the ringer off, but I want to get rid of that. That's the school calling.
Uh-oh. The school is calling.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Jill, hello. It's probably as hot here as it is in Florida right now.
Checking in from South Florida.
So very hot.
Thank you, Jill.
Yeah, so here we are. Thank you guys for coming back on Thursday so we can go over the latest and the greatest with immigration, courts, COVID-19, all of it.
Yes.
And most importantly, though, are your questions. So John and I, we said we're going to emphasize that. We have to emphasize that we want to make sure that you know that this is your chance to ask your questions and we will do our best to answer them.
That's right. We've got, we do updates here, of course, every week. But really the main thing that we like to do is answer questions. So any questions that you have, get them posted up, let us know, and we'll be happy to answer them. I will warn you, because our lawyers make us say this, that this is educational only, okay? So we will answer your questions, but it is not legal advice, okay? It's legal information, it's educational, and it's correct, of course, but you can't rely on it for legal purposes, okay? If you actually want to do that, then you'll need to contact us privately, become a client, and that'd be great as well, all right?
And Rodney, our buddy, well, my buddy Rodney from middle school, he's in Vegas right now, and he says it's probably not as hot here as it is in Vegas. John and I have been to Vegas for an immigration conference, and I bet you're right, Rodney.
Yeah, but remember
Super
that
hot.
whole thing about the humidity? Remember it was like 110 degrees in Vegas, but it was super dry, so it didn't feel hot at all. It felt cool and refreshing.
No, it felt like I was going to catch on fire walking from one conference hotel room to the next. But
Yeah, but at least
Rodney,
you weren't
good luck.
sweaty. We weren't sweaty anyway.
Good luck on the slots, buddy, if that's what you're playing. I think your odds are they good?
No, they're not good.
It's fun though. My mom loves the slots.
There's a reason they say, you know, that the casinos have the tall buildings with all the glass and gold inlays. There's a reason. Anyway, okay.
Anyway,
so,
Rodney, have fun.
I really
and
don't
if
know
you
if
have-
that's what he's doing. He could be out there for something completely different.
No,
than
I've
gambling.
seen his post. He's on the slot machine.
Okay, well, good luck.
He's winning though. He's a winner.
Good, awesome. So one of the things that we like to do every week, we're going to do a very brief review of state court updates. We're going to do the USCIS updates, a very brief Virginia COVID-19 update just to let you know where we are. I'm going to be talking a little bit, as I always do, about the Virginia driving privilege card. Still trying to get the word out on that. And of course your questions. And I see we already have a question, so fantastic.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Fantastic. And I'm going to try not to nod as much because we look at our videos sometimes and we just like cringe. Why am I nodding so much? If anyone out there who is always appearing live and you have any tips for us, we want to hear those tips. Absolutely. All right. So Rashawn says, if I had just applied now for N400, but my green card will expire in January 2021, does that matter if it expires before I take my oath, which is the last step of citizenship? And my lawyer answer is it depends. It depends. So if you are filing your N400 and your naturalization, I just want to first commend you on doing that. Let's clap for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good job. Definitely want to file it before the filing fees go up October 2nd, 2020. That's in less than a month. So you got to file it before October 2nd. Anyway, so if you've got your green card and you're filing your N400, you don't need it for work. You don't need to have work authorization tied to that green card. So your employer is not going to re-verify when that LPR card expires on January 2021. then you should be fine and not needing to do a new I-90. Now, what we used to do back in the pre-COVID, well, no, it was not even pre-COVID days, it was more back, is what we would do is we would file the N400 application, then we would make an InfoPass appointment for our clients to get a temporary stamp, so as proof of lawful permanent resident status while this N400 application was pending. And the reason for that is, of course, so the client did not have to spend the money and do an I-90. But they're only doing that if you file your N400 within 6 months of the expiration. So when you were doing your introduction, I was kind of calculating the time. I read the question. I was calculating the time. So it's September, October, November, December, January. You are out, you're within, that's only 4 months. So they're not going to give you that I-551. So Rashawn, if you are traveling outside of the country post January 2021, when your LPR card expires, of course, I would tell you that you're not going to be able to do that without, having a stamp and proof that your lawful permanent resident status is current. So in that case, if you had to travel outside of the country, we would recommend that you file the N400 and you also put down the money to file the I-90 in order to renew your LPR card. And then with that receipt, the I-90 receipt, then you'd be able to go into the local immigration office and make an InfoPass appointment and get a I-551 stamp in your passport. So Rashawn, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. But that is the long and short of your question. Love the questions. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, bring the questions.
Makes our job a lot easier. Even if we can't answer the question, it still makes the job easier.
And hi to Lisa joining us from the Rocky Mountains. Hope everything's going well.
Rocky Mountains.
At 10,000 feet.
Yeah, awesome. Hi, Lisa. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
And hello to everyone who's out there watching tonight. We really appreciate the support. And nice to know that John and I aren't just talking to one another, although we like talking to each other.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
usually not about immigration updates.
Just immigration cases.
Just what happened in court.
Yeah, or what happened in court. So the other question we just had was, how backed up is immigration right now?
Yes, Christina, what a great question. How backed up is immigration? Well, that also depends. It all depends on what type of case we're talking about here. We would have to take a look at the processing time. If you're talking about generally with regard to the immigration news, with regard to the fact that a lot of the contractors that help USCIS do the work, it's going to be pretty backed up. But we reported last week and weeks prior that there was a possibility that 60% of USCIS employees were going to get furloughed. That didn't happen on August 30th. But what did happen is a lot of the services are being cut and contracts not being renewed, from my understanding, and that's going to cause a big delay in a lot of cases. So let me see if I can find so the quote we have here, pulled from USCIS.gov, their page, anticipated operational impacts include increased wait times for pending case inquiries with the USCIS contact center. So when you call that 1-800 number contact center, you're going to be waiting for a long period of time. We're already waiting, 45 minutes, an hour. So that's going to be longer. It's a good thing we multitask, right? It's a good thing you have your phone because you can just be on your phone the whole time, read a book while you're waiting. Longer case processing times and increased adjudication times for aliens adjusting status or naturalizing. So that's right there on the USCIS.gov website. It's going to be backlogged a bit.
And she said her husband's visa was approved in December and they haven't heard anything yet.
The visa was approved in December. So is he outside of the country? Give me a little bit more information and I can talk to that a little bit. It just depends.
Yeah, it really
it depends on what it is. If he's outside of the United States, he should be able to come into the U.S. with an approved immigrant visa, especially if you're married to a U.S. citizen. And some of those presidential proclamations banning certain people from the United States do not apply to the spouses of U.S. citizens. So if you throw some more information down into the comments, Christina, I may be able to help you out a little bit with that. And so hopefully that's not the case, that he has his visa and he's stuck, or maybe he's waiting on a visa, maybe something that you think is the visa, like the I-130 petition has been approved, but that's not going to allow him to immediately come to the United States if he's outside of the United States. There are certain other steps that have to be taken. So let me know.
There's a follow-up here. Approved with a hardship waiver by an immigration judge, and he does not have to leave.
Okay. So it sounds like maybe it's a 601 hardship waiver, the provisional waiver. And there are quite a few other steps there to take after the provisional waiver, the 601A is approved, and hopefully that's what you're talking about. It's typically adjudicated by USCIS and not by an immigration judge. And so once that's approved, you need to go back to the National Visa Center. You've already paid your fees at the National Visa Center of $445, probably months and months and months earlier, and do the process of submitting your affidavit of support, submitting your tax return, your W-2, your most recent pay stubs, your husband's birth certificate, translation, if a translation is needed, his police certificates from all the places that he's lived, passport photos, did I forget anything? Marriage certificate, divorce decree. So that's another process. It's with the National Visa Center. And yes, the National Visa Center is completely backed up in processing these packages. So unfortunately, it is backed up, but you gotta submit it. You just have to wait. We're all in the same boat together, and hopefully things kind of get pushed through. But yes, there's quite a bit more process there after that National Visa Center process. Once NVC's like, all right, we've got all of our documents, we're good to go. And that's not an exhaustive list, by the way. I was just kind of running, just doing that from memory, but I probably missed a document or two. We do have checklists. If you want one of our checklists, shoot me your email and we'll send it to you. But then once that's done, National Visa says, oh, we've got everything that we need at this point. And then they send it to the U.S. Embassy where that interview will be scheduled. And then, as you know, the embassies are, for the most part, shut down. And so that's also going to be a little bit of a delay. So I hope I answered your question, Christina.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you. It was a really great question.
That was a great question. And before we move on, I saw my mother checked in. Hi, Mama.
Hi.
All right.
Do we have another?
Yeah, we do.
All right. So maybe this will be all questions today, because that would be fun.
Yeah, it's getting cut off. Do you have the whole thing?
I've got it. I do. Hello,
right.
My question is, can I start a petition for my children even though they don't have a passport yet? I can't go to Philippines at the moment due to COVID. So the answer is yes, you can. If we're talking about filing an I-130 petition for your children, the passport is not required for filing an I-130 petition. So what is typically required in filing I-130 petition? And again, I'm speaking generally here, but let's just assume that, let's assume Grace is a lawful permanent resident of the United States, okay? If Grace is a lawful permanent resident of the United States and Grace is filing an I-130 petition for her children, then she needs to submit proof that she is a lawful permanent resident. That's going to be a front and back copy of her lawful permanent resident card, the green card. And then she's also going to have to submit the children's birth certificates, which has her name as the mother on the birth certificate. And so there's no translation. It's the Philippines. It's going to be in English, of course. And so those are the things that Grace will need to submit in order to file the I-130 petition, Grace. And the Philippine passport or copy of it, the biographic page, not required at this step. It's going to be required at the next step that I was just explaining to Christina about. That's where it's going to be required, and that's going to be 9 months down the road. So definitely start working on getting the Philippine passport, but you do not need it to file the I-130 petition. And I highly recommend that you file the I-130 petition as soon as possible, because they are taking a long time. And of course, what we've been saying, this whole time is the sooner you get in the line, the sooner
Yeah.
you're going to get processed. I know it sounds so much like common sense and like, duh, why are you even telling us that? I don't know why I'm telling you that, because some people sort of wait, and I've met with some people this week, and I always end and I say, look, if you're going to file the petition, do me a favor and just file it within the next 2 weeks, okay? And they're always like, oh, okay. So anyhow.
Yeah, everything is delayed and backlogged, but I mean, it won't be forever. And when it starts to, unjam, that's a legal term, by the way, unjam. When it starts to unjam, you're gonna want to be, toward the front of that line as close as possible. All right, that's the advice. So don't drag your feet. This is not a time to drag your feet and wait. Whatever it is you're doing, full steam ahead is our advice for sure.
Full steam ahead. There was a great line in the Mary Poppins, the new movie. Yeah. If not today, never.
If not today, never. That's right.
Well, we don't really advocate if not today, never. How about if not today, then definitely tomorrow. Or then the day after that.
Yeah, or early next week.
For sure within the month.
Right.
But I don't know. I just love that. Like, if not today, never.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on just for a little bit on something a little bit
and I'm going to
different.
monitor the questions.
Yeah, see if any more immigration questions come in. Hopefully they will.
Love the questions.
That's the thing we like doing the most here. The primary reason that we're here to try to get some information out there. Quick update on the courts. As you know, the state courts have been up and running regularly now for a couple of months. That still is the case, at least in Virginia. The COVID numbers have been continuing to stay steady, if not trending down a little bit. So courts are open. If you've got a court case coming up, it's not getting continued because of COVID. You need to make sure you find your paperwork and that you're there so they don't issue an arrest warrant, okay? You will need a mask to get in. All of the courthouses are requiring a mask. There's some things that are a little bit different. I was in court in Newport News this morning for a hearing, and in addition to the mask and in addition to the normal questions, when you go into any of the courthouses, they're asking questions if you've traveled abroad in the last 14 days, if you're showing any symptoms of COVID, if you've been known to be exposed to somebody who's had COVID. They're asking those questions before you go in. But also in Newport News today, they also were not allowing folks that were not part of the case in. So if you were just a family member who was there for moral support, they were not letting you come into the courtrooms. Additionally, this was in Newport News Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court. They were making all parties, except for lawyers, stay outside of the courthouse, actually in a parking lot across the street while waiting for their cases to be heard. And the sheriff's deputies were then going over there, calling names and getting them and bringing them into the courthouse.
The lawyers?
Yeah, the folks that are in the case.
Oh, okay.
So the lawyers were in the courthouse, but the defendants and the witnesses and the police officers were out in the parking lot. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, so I don't know if that's a new procedure up there. I was up there a couple months ago and they were not doing that, so I think it's just to keep people outside and spaced apart if possible. So just a warning, don't freak out if you go up there or somewhere else and they're making you wait outside. All right. Just a brief review, and the reason I'm doing this is because we actually had a couple of people that inquired about like where, we've had all these updates. Where is Virginia right now? So I wanted to get everyone up to speed real fast. We're still in phase 3 in Virginia. That started on July 1st, and non-essential retail businesses are permitted to be fully open along with restaurants as long as there's no bar seating, and gyms can open at 75% capacity and entertainment venues can open at 50% capacity. These were the phase 3 requirements, still in effect. For Hampton Roads specifically, an executive order was issued on July 21st that is still in effect, and that order states that restaurants must be closed by midnight and indoor dining is only allowed at 50% capacity. There are no alcohol sales permitted after 10 p.m. and private gatherings of more than 50 people are prohibited. And I know that 50-person limit is really unfortunate. My cousin's son got married recently, and they had this whole wedding planned out, and then at the very last minute, literally like 2 days before, the day before, they had to cut the entire thing down to 50 people. It was a wonderful wedding. It was beautiful. Everything was great, but I know that that was very stressful for them.
It was really stressful.
All right, so that's
we won't say who made the cut and didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
It's not. Why are we laughing
Yeah,
about this? It's
just
not,
like the essential businesses and non-essential businesses. There were essential guests and non-essential guests. The non-essential guests did not make the cut. Anyway,
right.
All right, so that is the update with that. How about USCIS? Anything you want?
Oh, USCIS. Well, before we do that, I want to thank everyone who wished our daughter Mia a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Her birthday was on August 31st, and I put a post up, and my personal page has a lot of my clients on it and people that I know through the law firm. And just want to say thank you so much. It warmed our hearts to see all the people reaching out and saying happy birthday to Mia. We can't believe she's 17 already.
17, I know.
I had it, some of my friends were like, are you sure she's 17? Like, I think.
By the way, this piece of art behind us was her first stab at abstract modern art.
Yeah, she was not 17. When she
No,
was like 6.
She was like 5 or
7,
6. Yeah.
maybe she was 8. Yeah, we splurged on canvas, splurged on paint, and this is what we came up with here.
It's beautiful.
But anyway, thank you for that. And then also, we want to tell all the people and the students and the parents and especially the teachers and administrators, good luck. I don't want to end this without saying good luck with the back to school on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday or Tuesday?
It's on Wednesday, I
Wednesday,
believe.
yes. And we wish you the best of luck and health and safety, learning, and everyone be nice to each other.
Yeah.
that's all I have to say too. I've been saying that.
It's a really tough situation. It is what it is, and we just got to do the best we can. But good luck with it. And we apologize. That's why we had to push our Facebook Live from last night to tonight, because our middle daughter is starting high school next week, and there was a virtual open house, basically the principal and teachers explaining all the procedures that are going to be followed to do the virtual learning, and we did not want to miss that, and it was at 6 o'clock, of course.
Yeah, and we were supposed to do the was it the drive-by, the drive-through, the parade.
Yes.
The freshman parade, and Sammy said, no, I'm not going to that. If you want to go do the freshman parade, then you can go by yourself. Already embarrassed to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Seems like fun to me, but apparently, no, not good. Okay, remember, submit your questions. We're here to answer them.
Yep.
All right, fantastic. I put a post up last week. It was my back to school post. Ha ha ha, I'm so funny. But it's actually back to immigration office for an adjustment of status interview, a marriage interview. And I've been to the immigration office before previously, but only for naturalization interviews. This is my first interview back for adjustment of status with a married couple. So it was the couple, it was me, the immigration officer, the 4 of us. 1, 2, 3, yeah, that's 4. We were in the office together, and it was pretty cozy. I mean, we were tight. We were tight in there. My clients were behind the plexiglass. Well, it's not a plexiglass, plexiplastic. And I was sort of to the side because I didn't want to sit. I normally sit right next to my clients, but I didn't want to sit right next to them because they definitely did not want me to sit right next to them, especially after having found out that we recently traveled. And so the interview itself was fairly straightforward. It only took about 20 to 25 minutes. All the usual questions, nothing weird COVID related. Obviously, we all had masks on the whole time. The waiting room itself there were probably only about 10 people in the waiting room, and from my estimation, maybe 3 officers interviewing, calling clients. So we felt, it felt very social distance out in the waiting room, nothing crazy. We did wait for almost an hour, which I've done that before at the immigration office. It's to be expected. It's definitely a little bit out of the norm for us to have to wait. We're normally called right away. And I did expect to be called right away just because there was no one there. not very many people. But on the other hand, there are only a couple of immigration officers interviewing. So if you go and you're just kind of sitting there, anytime I'm sitting at the immigration office with my clients for a long time, I always start to think, did I get the right day? Did we get the right day? I mean, I don't know why but that thought always kind of crops up. But anyhow, it was fine. The officer recently that was Friday, yeah. And I just got a notification that the case was approved and the green card will be arriving. So I'm super stoked and excited about that.
Well done.
And that's
2 thumbs up on that one, yeah.
Absolutely 2 thumbs. That's pretty normal, but again, we haven't been in there for an adjustment of status interview since March, and I was pumped up to go in there, take care of business, and then get the approval within a couple of days. So that was good.
Awesome is what we call that.
That's awesome sauce. Yeah. So I just wanted to, I always do this recap, and I'm going to just kind of blow through these things that I typically cover. One, I think everybody knows by now that USCIS filing fees are going to go up on August the 2nd. So you need to have your case filed and postmarked before, I'm sorry, I said August 2nd.
You did say
October the 2nd, October the 2nd, or you're going to be paying the higher filing fee. And also related to that, there is just still a lot of uncertainty about, are we filing the public charge rule form I-944 with the adjustment of status? Are we not filing it? It's not on the website. What's going on with that? We're going to file it. And the reason is because if we file something right now in order to try to get it in before the filing fee increases, and if we don't file that 944 and then we say, they come back and say, hey, that was required, we're rejecting your application, now we're going to have to pay the higher filing fee. So that's one reason that we're filing it. Again, there's a lot of uncertainty with that, but we're just trying to take the safest route possible for our clients. There's no harm in filing it. They could just toss it. The harm is the time that it takes to put into it. And I just don't want to be in a position with our clients where we don't file the 944 because, gosh, it's not even on the website. But then they reject it and say, hey, where's the 944? We don't have enough time to send it back before October 2nd. And then we're subject to the higher filing fee. So we all know that. It's October 2nd is a time, and we are getting a lot of calls for people who want to file their naturalizations, file their green card applications. Time is ticking for us and the law firm of Gardner Mendoza to be able to help you out before October 2nd, but it's not completely done. I mean, if you need our help in order to file, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you.
Absolutely.
The time is now, and not only because of the filing fees increasing, but because of the backlog and the way that USCIS works with regard to first in, first out. Right, I'm not going to talk more about that. All right, we talked about immigration furloughs. Didn't happen, but there are still going to be limited services, the 944. Want to also mention again, I mentioned this last week, that there will be Citizenship Day, and that's going to be on Saturday, February 20th. So look out for more information here. And if you want information emailed to you about Citizenship Day, then put your email in the comments, or you can also message us your email and just write Citizenship Day information. And we will make sure that if you need our assistance in filing your N400 application on Citizenship Day, February 20th, 2021, for free, then we will send you that information, okay? All right, we talked about the new version of the employment authorization document. That there's the new version is dated 8/25/2020. So make sure you use that newest version, or your work permit application, your EAD application is going to get rejected. All right, and I do have a beautiful chart here about the presidential proclamations, but we are going to punt that I wanted to give a review on the presidential proclamations. We got some great questions at the very beginning, so I don't think we have time for that.
Yeah, the info too is so dense. I think it'll be a lot easier to follow if you're interested in it to begin with. It'll be much easier to digest it, looking at it and reading it rather than us talking.
So we're going to have to, we'll throw it up on the screen. And you know, at the beginning of COVID, I was going to do some things. I was very ambitious. I was going to do the Visa Bulletin workshop. Now we have the Presidential Proclamation workshop. I am going to do those. So you can hold me to that. So since I've already said it, we're going to do it. So, all right. Some of you, an FAQ that we've been getting are people who have fiancé visas. And for those who have an approval, you are concerned about the validity date of the fiancé visa petition, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to expire, this validity date of the fiancé visa petition approval. The petitions are going to be automatically revalidated in 4-month increments. So that's one less thing that you have to worry about is the petition expiring, like going through that whole process, filing the I-129F and going through that whole process and thinking, gosh, I'm really concerned about the validity of this. I'm not going to be able to get to my interview because the embassies are closed. What's going to happen here? Well, they're revalidating that. We always reach out to the embassy just to make sure that they are going to do it. I recommend that you do the same. Shoot an email. You know, they will revalidate it. All right. The last thing I want to mention, and I've spoken a lot today.
Yeah, that's great.
And this is a big deal, and hasn't really been covered. And thanks to our intern Sarahi, who is a third-year law student at Regent University, and she helped us with the content, which was super nice to have some assistance with the content. We haven't had any assistance before with this content.
She's smart.
She's very smart. Yes, we only hire really smart people, and the one requirement is they have to be smart, and that's not that high of a bar, right? I mean, but anyhow, she found this. It's kind of hidden in an update, but this is an article from the militarytimes.com, and essentially the Department of Defense had a policy which went into effect October of 2017 that stated in order to do military naturalization, okay, you had to serve at least 180 days of active duty or at least 1 year of satisfactory service in the selective reserve before receiving a certificate of honorable service, which you need in order to file a military nats. And then there was also the requirement of completion of boot camp. Prior to this October 13, 2017 policy, all you had to do was serve 1 day in the military, 1 day. And so a district court said that they could no longer follow this policy, and then it reverts back now to serving the 1 day. This is huge news for people who are in the military, who are lawful permanent residents, or even not even lawful permanent residents. You can be in the military without even being the U.S. military, without even being a lawful permanent resident.
A lot of people don't know that. You do not have to be a citizen to serve in the U.S. military.
Right, or even a lawful permanent resident. So 1 day, and you can apply for U.S. citizenship. So that's great. It was such a pain to get that N426 signed, and so huge news that I haven't really seen anywhere, and we need to make a post about that. But it's awesome, and I love military naturalization news because, as you all may know, my dad immigrated to the United States through the United States Navy, as many Filipinos did his age. So greatly thankful for that and his ability to come to the United States through the U.S. Navy. All right, that is it for me.
Yeah,
whew, it's a lot. I need a cup of water, like Marco Rubio.
That's good information. That's right, Marco.
Poor guy.
No, he's doing great. He's a senator. So, okay. Last thing I want to touch on, I do every week, make sure to get the word out. Talk about, the clock is ticking. On January 1st, 2021, the new law will go into effect for the driving privilege card in Virginia. This is going to be like a driver's license, except that you can't use it for anything other than just driving. And the big difference is that it requires no showing of what your immigration status is. Okay, so you don't have to show anything. You don't have to prove that you're here legally or not or whatever. Doesn't matter. It's not a question. Okay, all you have to do is pass the Virginia driving test, show that you have insurance, and show proof that you received income in Virginia in at least the prior 12 months and reported it on your income taxes. If you can show those things and pass the test, then you can get a driving privilege card, which will allow you to drive legally in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So this is a big deal. If you know anyone who is working every day, is driving every day, and you know they don't have a Virginia driver's license, and you think the reason they don't have it is because of an immigration issue, this is the ticket for them, okay? Pardon the pun. Tell them to,
I laugh at your jokes.
Tell them to look into it or contact us. I'd be happy to get the information out. We're sending the information to anybody who asks us about it because this is a really, really great improvement in the law, in my opinion, okay? It's a safety issue.
It's a safety issue, it's a comfort issue, and people are just able to work, drive to work, take their kids to school.
I mean, they're doing all those things now anyway, so.
Yes, correct. And so it needed to happen, and super happy about that. And I know it's going to definitely impact a lot of people, a lot of our community, so. Yeah,
it really should. My concern is that there just hasn't been much news about it. I mean, I don't hear much about it. I talk about it every week. We blast it out in emails. We send information to our clients. So I'm asking all of you to ask or tell anyone you know who you think may benefit from this to give us a call, okay? Thank you.
Hi, Kate. We got to say hi to Kate.
Yes. Oh, hey, Kate. How you doing?
Kate is one of our friends and neighbors.
Yeah, you're talking about your dad coming and joining the U.S. Navy from the Philippines. I may have an ancestor who was in the British Navy, but can't confirm it.
Is it
Don't know.
Christian?
It's possible. Mom, maybe you can give me some info on that later.
Kate's one of our faves. Love her. She always watches our sunrise every morning and always is supporting us. So we really appreciate you, Kate, and all of you guys who tune in and hear us ramble on about
That's
immigration,
right.
Courts, COVID-19 updates,
driving
and your
privilege
questions.
Card. And your questions.
Right. Okay. Really quickly though, one more thing that I want to cover, because a lot of people are filing right now. A lot of people are trying to get that adjustment of status application filed, and Janice has just joined. Sorry, it popped up, and I'm very distractible. So hi, Janice. Thanks for coming and joining. But anyway, so the question is, should I file my medical? Do you need a medical with the green card application when I file everything? Some people say I can't get an appointment, or what's the timing of filing this medical? So our clients sometimes file the medical and they want the medical file, but the timing is really, really important. Otherwise, if you get your medical, say you got your medical 90 days ago, and you're now just filing your green card application. Well, that medical is going to be invalid for purposes of your I-45, your green card application. So we typically will have our client bring the medical to their interview if there is an interview, or when USCIS sends us a request for evidence when there's no interview required. So an example is if you are a U.S. citizen and you file for your parents, typically there's not going to be an interview for your parents, thankfully. And we get a request for evidence, we submit the medical at that point in time, the client's able to get it within a couple of weeks, and we're good to go. But it's your choice. You just need to get the medical, and then you need to file that green card application within 60 days. Now, it's September 3rd, right? It's September 3rd now. you may be hard pressed to get a medical if you're trying to file your green card application before October 2nd. But if you can't get the medical appointment, then just file it without the medical. And what will happen is you will get a letter from USCIS that will say, well, it used to say, courtesy notice, you did not submit your I-693 medical with your green card application. Now it says deficiency notice. So they've changed the language for some reason, but don't be afraid of the deficiency notice. You will have an opportunity to submit that at your interview if an interview is scheduled for you, or you can mail it in if they request it through the mail. Let's see, we have a couple of questions.
Yes, there's a question about what the difference is between USCIS and NVC.
Okay. Harshan, thanks for that question and thanks for joining us. So USCIS is the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. And the National Visa Center, the NVC. is kind of like a visa clearinghouse. So once you file your I-130 petition with USCIS, USCIS will adjudicate. They'll make the decision on that petition. If they approve it, then it's going to be sent to the National Visa Center. And again, that's the visa clearinghouse. That's where you're going to have to submit your affidavit of support, tax return if you're the petitioner, W-2. You're going to have to submit birth certificates, translations, police certificates where the beneficiary has lived, passport photos, upload all this to the system. And so I look at it as, and I try to explain to our clients as, you got the first step and you filed with USCIS. Then the second step is NVC processing, National Visa Center processing. So with our current fees, you pay your $535 for your I-130 petition, gets approved 9, 12, 15, 18, 24 months. I'm just kidding. Hopefully it's within 9 months or 12 months. Then it gets sent over to the National Visa Center. They will email you what's called a fee bill. You have to pay the fee bill in order to upload your documents. That's $445. And you also have to complete the DS, the State Department Form 260, if we're talking about an immigrant visa here, and then upload all of those documents. And then once the National Visa Center receives everything that they require, then they'll tell you that and then submit it to the U.S. Embassy.
So he says that my wife is in the USA, but I got an email from NVC. So does that mean she has to go to India, or can it be done in the United States?
Let me just say, please do not send your wife outside of the country. I'm sure you wouldn't, without talking to us, okay, or someone, some immigration attorney who is an ALA member. All right, I have great colleagues, immigration colleagues in the area. Call any one of us, but call somebody, right? Hopefully you call us, but we'd be happy if you called anyone. It just depends, Harshan. It depends on, are you a U.S. citizen? If you are a U.S. citizen, then your wife can just file that I-485 if you have an approved I-130 petition. It sounds like she has an approved I-130 petition. If there's just a lot of different, thanks, we appreciate that. He says you were always first in mind. Okay, so he's a green card holder. Green cards 2A preference category, which is the spouse of a lawful permanent resident, 2A. I checked it, I believe it's current right now. So it just depends. It depends on the situation, depends on whether she's been in the United States and she's been in status. If she's been out of status, then he says that she had DACA. So again, it all depends on whether she's had any, how long she's been out of status. If she was never out of status, then you may be able to file the green card application. I mean, that would be sweet. But we'd have to, we line all those dates up, right? We have to say, okay, when did she enter the United States? When was she able to get DACA? So she was a minor. Did we accrue unlawful presence? Well, maybe she, and so we have to line up all these dates and make sure that, okay, is your wife eligible for adjustment of status? If she's not, then she may have to do national visa center processing, but what are we going to do with the periods of unlawful status? We may have to do a 601A waiver, which we discussed a little bit earlier. So give me a shout out. We'll be able to talk about that.
And for the rest of you, you're getting to see in real time an analysis of an immigration fact pattern case. I like it.
And we've had a couple of people on here. Harston has great questions. A couple of people have some great questions. I'm going to say we don't do, you guys show up for us and you watch us. We charge $245 for an initial consultation, immigration consultation. So with regard to traffic and criminal charges, there is no consultation fee for that, but we charge $245 for an initial consultation. They're currently virtual right now. And at the consultation, we do a deep dive into a client's case, immigration history. We review all of their documents. We can see all the documents via Zoom with a screen share. And we go through every single aspect of the case. We don't want to make any mistakes, We also don't want to put our client's head in the mouth of a lion if not necessary. So I know the doctors also have this, but lawyers also have this. Well, I do. I don't know if it's do no harm, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to do any harm to our clients, so we have to sit there and we have to evaluate it and just really do a deep dive into the case. And so for the people that are here tonight, I'm going to waive the consultation fee. If you want to talk to me, I'll waive the consultation fee. We'll do a 1 hour deep dive into your case and see if we can help you. And whoever is here and is hearing this, I will be happy to waive the consultation fee. The people at the office will be like, why did you do that? I hopefully get a ton of calls because, again, we appreciate you coming out, and by asking your questions, you're helping the community as well. So
yeah, because some people listen to this and some people watch it later and they hear questions and they have the same questions, and so they want to find out.
So Holly Lawson, Holly and I went to high school together. Holly, how's it going? She was the smartest. I'm sure she still is. Look, she's faculty. She has a really long question. Not sure if I can. Okay, here we go. Here's the question. I am faculty at a university, and our university received federal funding to provide student tuition to scholars in our program. I have a DACA candidate who is not eligible for the grant funds. I reached out to my project director at the DOE. I was told that my DACA student is not eligible. Can personnel development program grants be used to fund foreign scholars? It depends. Okay, we kind of go into this. Let's see here. I'm going to read this. You hold the fort down.
Yeah, that's a very
See,
long
Holly would ask a question like this. She's so smart. I would have to kind of look at this a little bit more deeply, Holly, and I absolutely will. And thank you for sending the question. It's a really important question, especially with higher ed and everything that's going on. But let me get back to you with this one, because I'm reading it, and it looks like just from these bullets, not possible. But I'll take a closer look and see if there are any exceptions. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you jumping on, and hello to you and your family. Really appreciate it.
And I think we had a question earlier as well that was, I think somebody asked if we had any updates on public charge.
Okay, so she's basically saying, are there any other forms of financial support? That I do not know, but I want to take a look at this just to see whether there's any exception here.
Yeah, there are a lot of facts in that question, so that's going to take a little more consideration, but we will get back to you for sure.
Yes.
Well, I won't. Rather than will. She is going to spend a ton of time reviewing that question and researching it, and she is going to get back to you on that.
I will do that for you, Holly.
I'm gonna grill some meat outside on the back deck.
Holly says this is so kind. Holly was the nicest, is the nicest person ever. I mean, smartest, most beautiful. Come on, just, you were. Should we bring you on camera? You want to talk about it? Such a great success in high school and beyond. All right, I'll stop. Everybody loved Holly. Everyone still does.
All right.
Okay, Janice says, did we cover any changes on the public charge rule?
Yeah, that's the question that we missed.
Yeah,
I think it's full past.
we did. We talked about, and Janice, if my memory serves me correctly, we're talking about the public charge rule on the State Department side. With regard to adjustment of status, which is a little bit more pressing right now for the people who are here and trying to reach that October 2nd filing fee increase deadline, we're filing it. The law firm's filing it, even though some sources say not to, some sources say do, most sources say not to. We just are. And with regard to the State Department equivalent, I think that's still pretty uncertain with regard to that. But I will double check to see if there's anything current on that. Honestly, did not look at the State Department equivalent to the public charge rule. And I think that's what you're, if my memory serves me correctly, and it has like 7 times out of 10, 6 times out of 10.
No. It's more like 9.5.
That's okay. But reach out to me through Messenger,
Yeah.
and we'll get that question answered.
All right, gang. If that's all the questions, those are all of our updates. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for coming
you
in
guys
today.
are awesome.
Sorry
Thank
about
you
that.
for making it a vibrant conversation.
Yeah, we love the questions.
We love the questions.
Love the questions. And
I'm going to have to bring some tea up here, though. Some water.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's it, we will see you all next Wednesday. And we always do this Attorney Lawler next Wednesday. Was that what I said?
Wednesday?
Anyway.
No, I just was emphasizing Wednesday because today's Thursday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Friday, guys. I thought today was...
Next Wednesday. That's
I thought
right.
tomorrow was Thursday, but it's
Right.
Friday. Important to know because I have an immigration interview and I need to be there.
Yeah.
So it's not Thursday, tomorrow, it's Friday.
All right. And I've
All
got
right.
court in Virginia Beach. I'll give you the updates. And
2 thumbs up.
Attorney Lawler got us started on the 2 thumbs up many moons ago. So thanks, Sarah. 2 thumbs up, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye, guys. Take care.